Hi, everybody. It's Mark Rushton of markrushton.com. It is Sunday, August 22nd, 2021. And this video is called My Ongoing Experimental Approach to Building Public Playlists. So, yeah, I talk about this every now and then. I know it's probably kind of boring, but for independent musicians out there, or even, I guess, even signed musicians to a certain extent, but really I'm coming at it from the point of a completely 100% independent musician, which is what I am. I use independent distributors. I use other services like Songtrust to collect my worldwide mechanical and publishing royalties, and I just use things like that because I don't, I'm not chasing a contract. I'm not your traditional. I'm not really a musician. I kind of am, but I'm not your traditional gigging musician or anything like that. And everything I do is an experiment. And so even my approach to promotion and building public playlists takes on that aspect of it. So I like to talk about it every now and then, just because I got to talk to somebody about it. We're not going to give the entire game away, but I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. And like I said, I'm in experimental mode right now, but I'm doing things and I'm seeing some results from them. And I'm not going to go out here and say, "Oh, you take my course and sign up for this and whatever." And that's not how it works. I'm just kind of having a discussion out here, trying to, maybe somebody will happen upon this little satellite out in YouTube, Odyssey, BitChute land for now, and say, "Oh gosh, I never even thought about doing that. This guy's having a bit of relative success with it, so maybe I should try that." And so that's kind of where I'm coming from. So let me just red cup here real quick. So I've been a Spotify subscriber for ever since it. I think ever since it became available in the United States, maybe a year after that. It might have been about 2013 or so. And nobody was really on it back then, even in the United States, not compared to today. It really didn't kind of take off until 2015, 2016, something like that. And I built public playlists on there, not necessarily from my own catalog, a little bit on there, but that was just for my own personal listening, because how I used to listen before, back in the day, I used to make mixtapes back in the 80s and 90s even. And then the CDs, I would burn my own CDs for listening in the car. And then for a while, I had a mini disc. I go for a run with my little portable mini disc player. And that's how I consume music. And then, of course, we get to the days of what do we got here? Yeah, the pseudo smartphone and apps and downloading offline for listening offline, which is what I do. I don't want to be streaming, racking up that data and everything like that, because I pay for my data. I don't have a big monthly unlimited super expensive plan. Anyway, that's me anyway. So I all along I've been a Spotify subscriber, and I started making some playlists based on my catalog, my sort of music, and I would include my own Mark Rushton stuff. And then when I started releasing music under different band names that are essentially me, I would include that. And then I would throw in, over time, I would throw in sort of like-minded artists or artists that I appreciate or things that I think I fit in with. And I would make those public. Spotify has they've changed it over the years, but now every time you make a playlist, it can be automatically public in the settings. And so that's how I have my account set. It's just automatically public. And the thing about Spotify, though, is especially these days, it takes a long time to get going. Like, you build something on there and it just, it takes a long time to get listens and displayed. And I know how all these services are, particularly Apple Music. They want to push the content that they have built. They're not necessarily interested in pushing user generated content. Or if they're going to push that content, there's criteria. It has to have, it's the old vestigial like thing with a radio. You can only have so many artists in a certain period of time. Which is bizarre. Why would you do that? Or they can only be a certain size, or you have to change things every now and then. It's really pointless, because if somebody builds a playlist and other people listen to it, then who cares? Who cares how long the playlist is, how many artists are in it, average time, all that sort of stuff. And that's things that clearly these services employ. So when you look at the way that Spotify builds their own playlist that they push, and and a lot of that stuff is sort of automated. A lot of those playlists are. They're not hand curated, or as I like to say, ear curated. Um, but looking at how Spotify builds certain playlists, that is something to research and get an idea from. It's the graphics and everything like that. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. The main thing I want to point out is that when I build public playlists, I've realized this over the years now. I'm building for the future. I'm building for future listeners, and I'm building for the way that the apps, and I'm not just speaking of Spotify in general, but the many different streaming services out there. You're building for how they may display, or they may change that app in the future. So you want to have stuff out there, user generated content, not only from your catalog, but built into playlists. And as I've said before, I've dug into the data. 70% of my listeners come from public playlists. About 30% come from radio services such as Spotify Radio, Pandora Radio, Slacker Radio, iHeartRadio. And so, yeah, once I learned that, I was kind of like, well, wait a second. Well, maybe I should make playlists, because I can't figure the radio thing out. That's a particularly spot. I have no idea. I have no idea. And I've looked into it, and it's just like, there's no way. It just is what it is. And be thankful for what you got. Diamond in the back, sun rooftop, digging the scene. Anyway, so yeah, you're building for the future. 450 million people subscribe to music streaming services around the world today in 2021. And been reading industry stuff, and they think it'll be 2 billion by 2030. And of course, a lot of those people are probably going to be paying less money because they're in other countries, lower standards of living. So the royalty rate probably won't be as high. But an additional 1.5 billion people, even at a lower royalty rate, potential for listening, and then all the other things that come along with that, which I'll talk about here. But as I like to say, Spotify is a good platform to build on. It's easy to build what I call staging playlists, where I sort of group out the music either by instrument or genre or time, or lots of different aspects of it. Sometimes maybe I only want music that's in my catalog. Sometimes I want to sprinkle it with other artists. Again, everything that I do is an experiment. I don't have any sort of grand plan. I've not bought some course. This is just all through learning, trial and error, research. But yeah, when you build the playlist, again, go and find some of those Spotify curated playlists that they push out there. And, particularly in the genres that you work in, things that, if you're a jazz musician, look at the jazz playlists of newer music. Ambient, look at the ambient. Look how they market the ambient. Look at the slightly avant-garde stuff. There's a lot of that sort of stuff out there. And yeah, you might find something you like too, but look at the way that it's presented. Look at the graphics. Look at the titles. Look at the descriptions, the text. Um, Spotify is a little economical with the descriptions. I like to use everything that's available to me. So if I have 300 characters, I'm going to max that out different ways, either by uh, something that I have pre-written and saved off. Maybe it's other artist names that I think would fit in. Sometimes it's language translation, because not everybody speaks English. English, do you speak it? So I did a bunch of research over time, and it's like, oh, okay, let's do what makes Spotify successful with regard to playlists. I also built in Pandora Amp, which is a very complicated system to learn, but there are many wonderful things to discover in there. If you want to gain a foothold into that, particularly with regard to things like featured tracks and presenting yourself as an artist, you can make artist messages and things like that. It's a really wonderful service, but it's extra work. And so you can go and build a playlist on Spotify and transfer it to your personal account on Pandora. But I think building within Pandora Amp, you get additional data and stuff like that. And it's worth spending the time to learn. And it takes a long time to learn how to do that. And if you have a big catalog, maybe not everything is. It's not for the squeamish, but I love it. I, I, I love it. I think it's a fantastic. I wish all streaming services kind of had something like that. And Spotify sort of does, but Pandora's is pretty robust. But again, it's complicated. It's very I could see a lot of people, opening up the hood and going, "Oh my God, what is this?" But again, for those who are committed, there is potential for a good reward there. I use a transfer service. So when I build something on Spotify, I use a transfer service to transfer those playlists to other platforms. I use Soundiz, Sound IIZ. It right now it costs $36 a year, and it's worth it. I'm also a big proponent of having paid accounts on other streaming services. Currently, I pay for 6 streaming services, which is a little ridiculous. And again, this is part of the experimentalist aspect of it. So most of these services don't have daily reporting or analytics that you can look into. You won't get that until many months down the road through your distributor. So I'm spending an extra $10 a month, $10.59 a month here, there, everywhere, and building and pushing to those services. And let's give it 9 months or a year. And 9 months you would know by then, because typically if you stream something in 1 month, within 3 to 4 months on most services, you're going to get that royalty statement that you'll be able to see that in your numbers. So, but yeah, what I do currently is I do daily building. I have just a little calendar reminder. It's kind of almost the first thing I do in the morning, or if I'm on break from the day job there. Or I'm in a long meeting that I don't have to really kind of, I just have to be present, then sometimes what I'll be doing is just rolling around to this computer and, I made them earlier and I'm just transferring them, which takes 10 seconds of clicking things and send them off. Break time in the evenings, on the weekends. It's super easy to do. So yeah, daily building of playlists, and I try to do at least 3 a day. So, after a year, you got 1,095 public playlists times, I think I send them out to about 11 different services worldwide. So that's a huge number. That's over 10,000 in a year. It's like 12,000 or something like that. Yeah, some of those playlists will do nothing. They will do absolutely nothing. and others might do something. They may not do something in the first 6 months. It may take 2 or 3 years. I may be pleasantly surprised down the road, 5 years down. All of a sudden, something is found, and one of the little satellites that I launched to another planet is picking up signals. That'd be kind of cool. So really the main thing for me is that I want to be able to, within my catalog here, I want to sell the same music 500 different ways, 1,000 different ways. Just because you've made a sound recording, music or whatever, you don't just put it on the services and there you go. Here's my hello world. You have to figure out how to sell that bit of music or that sound recording. And one way to do that for me, what I've learned over the years is you have to dig into the analytics. You have to dig into the data, your monthly royalty statements, what tracks are doing well, on what services, and why. Can you figure that out? If you got a track that's pretty hot on Spotify, then you need to be in Spotify for Artists. You need to dig into the analytics there, or go into Spotify, and there are ways to heard on this service, this playlist. Especially when you find the day that somebody just randomly out of the blue found your track and put it in their own public playlists. Those things become like the snowball rolling down the hill. They're really amazing. And that's how I found out about this sort of stuff. It's just like, oh, somebody put one of my tracks in a playlist. Oh, it's getting plays. Oh my God, that's so cool, right? But nowadays, it happens all the time. Several years ago, it didn't happen. It was infrequent. So, yeah, you gotta chart that data that you get from the analytics, from your royalty statements. You have to know how to load a file into Excel, and there's so many different. Some have TXT, some have CSV, some have XLS, XLSX, and some of those you have to know how to load that into Excel. You have to know how to data filter and filter data on there. Not everybody is proficient in Excel, and it's not that hard. I'm not going to show you, but if you're not used to working with that, then learn how to filter data. There's a million YouTube videos on how to do that sort of thing. So yeah, there are some services out there that do provide daily analytics. Spotify for Artists, great service, really great service. Pandora Amp has some. If you dig into it, there's a little bit of analytics in there as well. Next Big Sound, which piggybacks on the Pandora stuff. To a lesser extent, Apple Music for Artists. It's that thing is a bit of a mystery. And Deezer for Creators. You're like, what? Yeah, Deezer for Creators. I'm in that. It's a little clunky, but kind of fun to watch. What would I say for newbies? For newbies or for seasoned musicians or whatever, my advice, just after spending some time and getting results with my experimentalist approach, is that you cannot expect results from the media. Blogs, magazines, if they even exist anymore. Getting somebody to review your record. It just, so many of those sites anymore, the review sites, they write these just big, grand, ridiculous, unmemorable things about everything is above average, and they just talk it to death. And then, of course, they always impose all their talking points and stuff like that, which is maybe someday we'll look back on it and go, ugh, cringy, right? But that doesn't doesn't always get people to listen to music. It's not that effective. It's a lot of work, and everybody else is trying to break the big time by that. Oh, if I could just get somebody to review. Kind of that's not for me. It's not really how uh I don't think I think that's wasted time. I think you're better off spending an hour building a few playlists, learning how to do that. Uh, Local media, forget it. I'm going to send it to my little Arts Weekly tabloid or the newspaper or the local music radio show on the public radio station. Yeah, if you want to do that, that's fine, but that you're not. No, it's going to be just in the either, and nobody's going to pick up on that. No one really is going to pick up on that. Oh, but I know where somebody did this many years ago, and uh, never pay any service to try to promote anything. They're all scams. They will all get you into trouble with your distributor or the streaming service. Just never. There's no shortcut. There's no cheat code. There's nothing but hard work and learning. Uh, Detractors. And these are typically people who've been in the game over the years, other musicians. They're perpetually jealous. Uh, it, they'll say things like, they're like, you're just making a lot of playlists and your music isn't very good, or you're not making very good playlists. You have to ignore that. You have to ignore that because you're playing the numbers game. That's what you're doing. You're playing the numbers game. You're learning how to sell that catalog, how to market that music, how to get that out there to listeners. You're building for the future. I look back on when I was in Spotify in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, even as late as that. And I was just like, God, I wish I knew. I wish I should have done this, right? I don't think about that very long. I don't dwell on it or anything like that. But I'm like, well, last couple of years here, gained that knowledge, gotten better at what I'm doing. Some things work, some things do not work. Some things may work in the future. I'm not spending that much time on it. It's like I've got it down to where I can make 3 or 4 playlists in 30 to 45 minutes. And then I can get those transferred out over the course of a day. It doesn't usually take that long on my own time. So it's like, yeah, shouldn't you spend 30 to 60 minutes a day on promotional aspects of your music, your catalog? Probably not a bad thing to do. I mean, are you watching TV? Turn it off and go make a playlist. Are you just reading stupid crap on the internet? I do that too, but I make time. I make time to build playlists to sell that catalog. You can get results with I call it the numbers game. You're also learning how to fit in. How does your music fit in with other musicians and other genres and things like that? How do you fit in the marketplace, right? And as I always like to say, people aren't looking for you. They're looking for your music. No one cares about, very few people care about Mark Rushton. You can see that out on Spotify. I have 214 followers. But I publish under about 20 music and sounds under about 20 different names, which is a little ridiculous, and some do a whole lot better and some do nothing on some services. Other services, they do much better. So yeah, people aren't looking for you. They're looking for the kind of music that you make or the sounds that you publish. Now, that's a hard concept for people to understand because there's so many musicians are kind of egomaniacs, right? Or it's like, I want to be a star. It's like, yeah, no, you don't want to be a star. Look at all the stars who have died, like in the last decade, and just yeah, you don't want to be a star. You want to be somebody whose music gets listened to, has an audience. So, yeah, I do the experimentalist approach. And I don't follow anybody else's advice. I don't have no guru, no method, no teacher, right? And am I getting results? Yeah, I'm getting results. I'm playing the long game. I'm seeing improvement on a month-to-month basis. I'm not going to show you numbers because that's not what we're about here. But it's just I don't know. What can I say? Coaching? Sort of like, I've tried this. It's working for me. Maybe you might want to try it within your genre or whatever. Get up to speed over time. You might, if you have the patience for it, the discipline, maybe you could do it, right? Again, why do I say this? Well, I got to talk to somebody. So, talking to the camera here, what am I going to do? Bore my wife with I was looking at the analytics and then I made this playlist with this graphic, and she didn't want to hear that. It's like, she does like to hear, look, I got royalties from Kyrgyzstan. She likes that. It's like, Kyrgyzstan, where's that? Look that up. Oh my God. You got money out of that country? Amazing. Just a few pennies. Nothing fancy. Don't be buying a new house or a mansion and a yacht. No. But I might as well just talk to the camera, random people. I might spur somebody on eventually, if not now, down the road. And I've tried to talk to other musicians. Some get it, most don't. Most want the cheat codes. Most want it to be easy. Most think you should wave your magic wand and, oh, I'm a special artist. And I know that rankles so many people, right? Or you got all these other people, so many people, they just want to do drugs. Yeah. They just want to do drugs. I'd rather do drugs than make playlists. Well, that's fine. Or I want to work on the same demos for 30 years. That's fine. You're never going to go anywhere. You got to make stuff and you got to release it. You got to get it out there. Like the Eno quote, right? I'm not going to bring that up here, but yeah, it doesn't do anything sitting on a shelf. Until you release it, you don't know what's going on out there. So release as much as you can. And again, the only rule is work. The only rule is work. If you work, you build something, things will come from it. The people who build this sort of stuff, they learn. They're going places, I guess. I don't know. It's just it's fun. I like doing it anyway. Yeah, but so many musicians, they don't, and I'm not trying to be Coach Rushton or the guru who has all the answers. I have no idea. I have no idea whether this will work out long term or not. No idea. I'm the past year here, I can chart it. Looks good. Seems to be working. But yeah, you talk to those people that are, they're dismissive. No, they're just lazy. They're stuck in the past. They, not gonna, they're not interested in how things are done now, how people consume music now, and how things may be done in the future. And of course, the future is a big guess. But if you can't understand, people don't. Yeah, maybe you buy records, but most people don't buy records. The vast majority do not buy records. They do not buy physical media of any kind. Right? So I've rambled. This is a big, long, rambling message, but it's just one. I have to talk about every now and then. I'm not giving the game away. I'm just saying, hey, you got a catalog out there. You want to learn how to promote your music and your sounds and things like that. You're super independent. Where do you begin? Start building public playlists. Start with Spotify. Study what they do. And then get accounts on other services. Study how your music is presented there. I mean, is your music even being distributed to this particular service? Right? And there's a lot of services worldwide with many, many, many millions of potential listeners. Right? If a part of your catalog's missing, or there's somebody else's, there's some sort of problem out there, which I have encountered here in the past year. By doing this, I've gone through what would I call cleanup mode. A lot of cleaning up. And it's like, or certain distributors. Some distributors will automatically distribute to new services. Others, you have to manually kick that off. Or they have some sort of automated service that does that sort of thing. But anyway, the point is you learn a lot more about how your music is presented. What do you call it? Holistic, I guess. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm done rambling. I gotta go eat lunch. I'm hungry. It is Sunday, August 22nd, 2021, and I'll talk to you later.